Welcome back to PNC's News First. What kind of protection should solar energy users have against solar energy companies, and who should protect them? With one of the largest growing customer bases on Guam, solar energy representatives and GPA testified on a bill today that would offer solar consumers more protection. Here's more. The Frank Uggan Jr. sponsored legislation sets up a Bill of Rights for solar energy consumers here on Guam. However, the bill has not been received well among those in the solar industry, or at least there seems to be some confusion. Lynn Scott, a board member for the Guam Renewable Energy Association and a former vice president in banking, opposes the bill as written.
This bill claims to be a renewable energy consumer Bill of Rights. But what you must ask yourself when you read each and every provision of this bill is a very simple question. Who is being protected? Is it the consumer or is it the solar companies?
Scott argues that under the current bill, solar companies handing out leases and power purchasing agreements do not have to disclose information that would normally be required under the Federal Truth in Lending Act. He says protections to consumers need to be extended significantly more than what is in the current legislation. Micronesia Renewable Energy Chief Jeff Voakola, meanwhile, says the bill is good as written.
We as a company think it's very well written. We support the bill 100%. You are right with the unprecedented growth that this industry has incurred over the last, I would say, 3 years. The reason that's happened is because private equity has come into the island of Guam. We've seen contractors come in, build systems on consumers without giving them production guarantees that we think is very, very wrong. That has to be in this bill. So I think the bill covers a lot of not only what should be done to protect consumers of Guam, but also a lot of industry standards.
Both Scott and the Guam Power Authority representatives agreed that more people need to be involved in establishing a consumer bill of rights. For instance, Scott says it's important to involve the banks and insurance companies as well as the AG's office. CCU Commissioner Simon Sanchez, speaking on behalf of GPA, agreed with this.
You know, one of the things we saw was by the time you run to the Attorney General's office, you've already signed the agreement, right? And you're already in the deal. So it gives you recourse after the fact.
GPA testified in support of the bill, although CCU commissioners did argue that a roundtable discussion needs to be scheduled for the bill and more stakeholders need to be involved.
We need to equip, figure out what that process is, maybe OG on the teaching, maybe GPA on the teaching, maybe AG on the enforcement, but what about the banking side of the equation? Maybe bring more players in, and then let's figure out how to fund it.
Committee Chair Tom Atta agreed that a roundtable discussion on the bill was necessary. Meanwhile, CCU Commissioner Simon Sanchez says the GPA is expecting the number of net metering customers on Guam to jump to possibly 8,000 customers. Currently, solar penetration into the Guam grid is about 1,000 customers, which is only 1% of GPA's total customer base.
Well, back in April, Joseph Santos vowed that he would not remove the Silent No More sign on his truck until legislation was passed to lift the civil statute of limitations on sexual assault for minors. Well, today, at the Veterans Cemetery in Pete, he was finally able to do just that.
Mission accomplished. Those are the words Joseph Santos of the Silent No More organization used to describe Bill 326, the legislation that lifted the statute of limitations on sexual assault for child victims and was passed into law last week by Governor Calvo. The victory removal of the sign was held at Veterans Cemetery in Pete at the gravesite of Doris Conception's son, Joseph Soni Kinata, who confessed to his mother at his deathbed 11 years ago that he too was a victim of sexual assault when he was a young boy.
So I thought it would be most fitting to take the sign down since the mission is accomplished, right here in front of Sonny's grave and in front of Sonny's family and friends.
According to Santos, he promised Sonny Kinata's grieving mother that he would keep the sign until legislation addressed the statute of limitations on child victims. Santos said it was, quote, unfortunate that some people were more worried about what they might lose instead of what they might gain from Bill 326. Santos was joined by Senator Frank Blas Jr., the author of the bill, and Senator B. Uggan Jr., the committee chairman for public safety. According to Santos, the sign has become a symbol of hope to survivors and victims of sexual assault.
Last Friday, when the governor signed the bill into law, it was certainly a moment of elation and relief to know that we've accomplished our mission and that Sonny did not die in vain.
The ceremony was held at 11 a.m. this morning. For PNC's News First, I'm Rebecca Elmore.
Renovations are in full swing at the Estumbo Fire Station. Fire Station 12 had been shut down for 9 months since October of last year due to a rat infestation. Since reopening in July, the crew has been hard at work making improvements to benefit the department and the community.
We came up here and we started to plan for what we wanted to get done. One of the things was to pour the front driveway so that we're not riding in dirt and mud anymore, and it'll make it a lot easier for the community in case in the event there's a sick person that comes in, they can come in actually and not worry about falling down or sliding or slipping.
Firefighters who had just worked a 24-hour shift volunteered their free time to help with the renovations. All supplies were donated by members of the community and local businesses, including Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares, the Department of Public Works, GUAM Home Center, and J Planning, who donated 9 truckloads of concrete for the project.
All the concrete was pretty much a community partner effort. We wanted to just show our appreciation to these guys, you know. We all know these guys, when everyone runs from the building, they run in. Kind of a testimony to our island. We weren't sure we were going to have 5 guys, and now we had close to 30 firefighters out here from different stations. It was just a very good community effort.
The Estumbo Fire Station received the equivalent of $13,000 to $15,000 in material and labor donations.
Hundreds of sailors from the Ronald Reagan Strike Group are on island and will be volunteering their time to help Guam schools and organizations this week. But a group of sailors organized their own team under the Travelers Association of Freemasons to do a beach cleanup over the weekend. This Brotherhood of Freemasons went from Outriggers Beach to Ipoh Beach to beautify Guam and give back to the community. The group contacts Freemason lodges at every port to find out what they can do to help.
And we just like also communicate with the local communities here. So if everything they needs help, like whatever, let's say like cleaning or taking some trash or painting some like a shelter, all that. So we'll help them whatever we can.
Micronesia Lodge 173 organized this year's cleanup, and the Brotherhood plans to do more in the future to highlight what Freemasons do for their communities.
All right, well, let's go to PNC's Freemason Chelsea Cruz for our weather.
Hafide and welcome to your PNC weather forecast. I'm Chelsea Cruz. If you've been outside at all today, you may have noticed those gray clouds hovering up above. Well, they are definitely here to stay for the rest of the week and could possibly be bringing stronger winds and rain as well. There is a tropical disturbance approaching the Marianas from the east, though the center is closer to Saipan, well, northern Saipan, and it will be bringing isolated thunderstorms our way as well as showers. As you can see, tonight we'll be seeing isolated showers and thunderstorms. However, those clouds are going to drop more rain on us for Wednesday and Thursday, turning into scattered showers as the circulation draws near. Tonight's 5 to 10 mile an hour northeast winds shift to the west for tomorrow and slightly pick up speed to 10 to 15 miles per hour. Expect the low for the week to be your usual 79 degrees and the high to be around 88 degrees. And now a quick mention, because my brother-in-law and his MP company were deployed this past weekend. Their motto, Boonie Dogs, never die, Godspeed Boonie Dogs. Stay safe, stay Army strong, and same goes to the families. You guys got this. And that's all for your daily weather report. I'll be sure to keep you updated as the circulation gets closer to our area. Until tomorrow, have a good evening.